YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I am here today to chat a little bit about the books that I read in October. A little bit, because I want this video to be short, relatively short. And I read a lot of books, so not going to go in length about any of the books, but I want to mention them just to tell you what I read. So, I read, I think, about 12 books. The first book that I read was With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which was surprising how much I enjoyed that book. It is, Elizabeth Acevedo is of Caribbean heritage, and the book is about a young woman who is a teenage mother and an aspiring chef. And so we're reading a little bit about her life as a mom, but also as a high school senior, and about her aspirations of, getting a career in the culinary world, and the opportunity that she has to get a little bit of a taste of that, pun intended. And it was just so adorable. Like, you could see this young woman trying to be a good mom, to be a good daughter, to be a good granddaughter, but also to date and pursue her own academic and career dreams, professional dreams. And I love the mix. I just love the mix. It was YA, but also like just so endearing of a read that I think anybody could read that book. I also really like the fact that Elizabeth Acevedo includes things that are probably very relevant to a young adult audience, but are also relatable to older readers. And she showed this young person coming of age, but not being too adult. Like, sometimes I feel like YA books have a lot too much adult content, but this was not like that. It was sweet. So yeah, I read that and I loved it. I also read Lucy by the Sea by Elizabeth Strout, which is the fourth book in the Lucy Barton series, and man, that book was amazing. It follows Lucy Barton during the pandemic. So Lucy Barton is now an older woman. She's an older woman. She has daughters who are young adults or adults. And so she has reunited, kind of rekindled a closeness, a really close intimacy with her former husband, William. And at the beginning of the pandemic, he invites her to go to Maine with him to escape what he thinks he knows is about to happen in New York City. And so we're reading a little bit about life in the pandemic for people who were here in New York City, people who left, and what the reception was for people, what the reception was when they went to other places. A lot about just life and intimacy, and how sometimes when you find the thing that you think you want, how other people react to it, whether they're happy for you or whether they're suspicious of things. But man, this book, Elizabeth Strout really writes about characters. She gives us really engrossing character study. Like, you feel like you know the characters, but you're also kind of here for all the surprises that happen. I love the fact that Lucy Barton is an older character as well, and we read about older people and some of the things that they get involved with that are just very different from people in their youth. So there's a lot about acceptance of who people are, and acceptance of yourself, but accepting other people, and just saying, listen, I'm here for this person regardless of what they may have that other people may perceive as flaws. This is who they are, and I'm here for it. So I love that book. So yeah, those are the first two books that I read. Notice I don't have any books holding up because all of those are library copies. I also read a free version on Project Gutenberg of Anne of Avonlea, which is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series by L.M. Montgomery. And again, no physical book to hold up, so I'm just have my hands in my pockets chatting about these books with you guys. I love it. So Anne of Green Gables is a little bit, I read one review on Goodreads which says the book kind of suffers from second book syndrome. In the beginning, it's a little slow to get into because it's not quite the sparkling innocence of Anne of Green Gables. When we meet Anne, if you've read the series and when we meet her, she's a young, precocious child who has been taken from an orphanage and is about to be returned because the woman who asked for her, the woman who was about to adopt her, really wanted a boy, and when a little girl shows up, she does not want her. And Anne is, she's the kind of character, she's the kind of person who just kind of worms her way in. Whether you think you wanted her or not, she just eventually, she warms you, she wins you over. And so there was that in Anne of Green Gables. And in Anne of Avonlea, which is the second book that I'm chatting about now, she's a little older. And so a little of that childlike innocence is gone. She's now a 17-year-old when we meet her, and she's just left high school, or she's just left school, and she's about to become a teacher herself. And I know there was one reviewer on Goodreads again who said, this is just like so unlikely of a scenario, except it's not. It reminds me of my own life. I went to teach when I was 17 years old. I had just left high school, and my dad was the principal at the primary school, elementary school in our community. Well, not the community where we live, the adjoining community. In any case, I didn't have a job yet, and I wasn't going to university right away, and so I went to teach, to be a leave replacement for one of the staff members at my dad's school. And so, yeah, I was a teacher when I was 17. I turned 18 like the second day on the job. But I was 17 when I started teaching, so it's not that unlikely because it happened to me. And so I loved reading Anne's story. And we're reading about her, like we're watching her grow up. We're watching her become an adult, doing adult things, again, a lot like the character in With the Fire on High. Watching her do adult things and just kind of reconciling that coming of age in this Canadian environment. The book takes place in Prince Edward Island, and it's just a beautiful, like L.M. Montgomery writes innocence like no other. Love this book. So I'm totally here for the series. I want to read more of the books, but I'm going to read them slowly. And like I said, the book it started off a little bit slow, but it just got so much better. Like the ending was so beautiful. Like I feel like I want to pick up the third book in the series now, but I won't. I'll wait. I'll save that for another time. Other books that I read. I got this book from the publishers, Never Meant to Meet You, a novel by two women, Ali Frank and Asha Humans. And this was also kind of sparkly. The two women, one's black, one's white, and they write about that interracial relationship between women. In this novel, we're reading about a woman who meets her neighbor on she's been seeing her neighbor around, but they haven't really gotten to having or developing a relationship. But she really meets her on the day when the woman's husband dies, or she finds out that the husband has died, and so they become friends. And it turns out that the woman is a teacher. She's a kindergarten teacher, and the neighbor's daughter is about to start school in her class. And so we read about the relationship as it develops, and some of what happens. There's also a little bit of a romance because it's a lot. I don't want to get into the plot. I'm going to do a review of this book, but I really, really enjoyed it. My daughter just started school. My daughter's in preschool, and I loved reading about these kids, these students in this lady's class, and a little bit of kind of what the teacher experiences. There's a lot about school politics, little kids' school politics, but also relationships between women, and other things, friendships and romance, and a lot. So I'm going to do a review of that one just so I can talk a little bit more about it. Other things that I read, John Updike's Rabbit Run, which I did a review here on the channel. And if I wasn't clear, maybe I'm taking back some of what I said earlier. I really like this book. I like this book a lot more than I thought I would have, given how unlikable the main character is. But I'm here for the series. Heidi from My Reading Life bought me a copy of this book before I did so I'd already posted my review, and then she told me that she bought me the book, and she was like, maybe I shouldn't have bought the book because you didn't like the book. Listen, guys, I love books, okay? And my reaction to books change over time. So I made a review where I kind of said that I probably didn't like this book as much. I might do another review next year and tell you how great the book is after I've read the whole series. But yeah, I did a review on this. I won't chat too much about it, but it's about a 20 something year old man who was a high school basketball star, and now in his 20s he is really disenchanted with what life has given him since his stardom. More on that in my video. I'll link it down below if you haven't watched it yet. Also got this book from the library, 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanf, which is a letter exchange between a woman named Helen Hanf. So it's not fictional. It's a letter exchange between this woman, an author in New York City, and a bookseller or booksellers in a correspondence that she starts with the bookseller at the bookstore, which is located at 84 Charing Cross Road. And it's set in the 1940s and 50s. Is that the time? 50s. 40s and 50s. It takes place over 2 decades of letter exchange. And so we get to see a little bit of what these people's lives are like post World War II, and what was happening in London at that time, and also the change of life for a writer in she's a screenwriter in New York. And when the move happens from New York to Hollywood, when the film industry moved, a lot of that is included there. Not a lot, but we mention it, and so we see the passing of time through what these people write about. This book is so beautiful, and it's short. It's just about 100 pages. So I got this copy from the library, and I'm gonna get my own copy for my shelves. So yeah, other books that I read the Book of Night Women by Marlon James. This was the book for the Run Right Reads book club, so I'm going to be doing a review video. This one is set in the 1800s. We're reading about women on a slave plantation in Jamaica, and it's about, the main character is Lilith, a woman who's born as an enslaved woman, and a little bit about the women in the other enslaved women who kind of take care of her, and women on the plantation. It's a lot about the women. That's what the title says. So I'm going to be doing a full review of this one later this week, I think. Other books that I read Girl, Woman, Other. Oh, did I mention I love this book? This is a complete 5-star. Most of the books that I read in October were 4 or 5-star. I didn't read anything that I didn't like, including this one, Heidi. I loved everything that I read. Guys, I love books, okay? Sorry, I'm trying to move my speaker so that you can hear me better. So yeah, I also read Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. A Booker Prize winner. Like, guys, I still have my Booker Prize challenge going on, and I finally read another one. This was the 2020 winner. This was the 2020 winner. The Testaments by Margaret Atwood also won that year, but this was the winner. Shade. But yeah, this is about, this is snippets. It's more like character sketches following 12 people. How do I say this? We're reading about a woman named Amma, who is a lesbian woman in England, in London. And she's just about to debut a play that she's been working on, and it's about women of the Dahomey. And so we're reading a little bit about her life and her choices and her daughter and other people who are in her life in some way, connected to Amma and connected to the play. And so we're reading a little bit about Britain during this time, but we're also going back into the past a little bit and reading about things that influence these people to become who they are. So a little bit about queer life and queer identity, but also about women and feminism. So yeah, Girl, Woman, Other included in this book. I'm going to be doing a full review because even though I'm late to the train or late to the party, I'm still going to discuss that book at length. Other books that I'm going to be discussing at length include The Sunflower Sisters, or Sunflower Sisters by Martha Hall Kelly. She's the author for Lilac Girls, and this is another book in that kind of series, but they're really standalone books. They follow linked characters, is what I should say. So this one is set right around Civil War. So in the 1850s, we are reading about 3 women and the links in their lives. A woman who is enslaved, the woman who is her owner, a plantation owner, and also another woman who is working as a nurse for the Civil War soldiers. So three women whose lives get linked, and some of the circumstances, the families that are around them, and the things that are happening. I love that Elizabeth Blackwell, the first female doctor in the United States, also shows up in this book, because I read a book about Elizabeth Blackwell earlier this year for the BookTube prize. So love this book. Sorry. And I also read Behind Her Lies by Brianna Cole. This one I finished last night because I had to do a review yesterday. So I made a reel. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, go check out my Instagram. I'm kind of funny over there. I'm trying to be funny. Trying to be funnier over there. Behind Her Lives by Brianna Cole. This one is about sisters, two sisters. One of them is reported dead, and the other one goes to identify her body, but she doesn't think that that's her sister. And it's about her trying to discover the secrets that her sister had. She realizes that her sister had a secret life, a secret identity, and although she has been thinking that she and her sister have been close, we also see holes and gaps in their relationship, and we're trying to figure out the mystery along with the main character, Devin. And so yeah, this book is like really fast paced. It's really engrossingly written. Brianna Cole wrote this. She wrote the hell out of the story. Okay, so I love this. I wrote a review on my blog. I'll link that down below. But I'm going to be doing a review video here because I'm just going to be chatting a little bit more about the books that I have read, because I think that's why you guys are here, right? It's not because I'm funny. I'm not that funny over here. So let me check my spreadsheet. Oh, my computer is black. Yeah. So those are the books that I finished. I was reading Cry the Beloved Country by Alan Paton. I'm buddy reading this with Patrice Jones. I'm not quite finished. We have about 70 or 80 pages left in this book. But right now, this is one of my top books for the year. This is one of the most impactful books that I have read so far this year. So this is about a 5.5 star read. So I'm going to be chatting more about this, but I'm not quite done. I feel like I could review it at this point because I love this book. I know I love this book. But we're going to finish. We're buddy reading it and we're taking our time. So we'll be finished soon, a few days maybe. And I'll come back and chat about this book. Another single review video is coming. And then Not Finished with Middlemarch, George Eliot. I didn't get far enough into this to even talk too much about the story. So just know that it's on my TBR for November to finish, to continue reading and finish. Hopefully in November, but at some point. I'm just going to read it until I'm done. I'm not rushing because I'm really enjoying it. I have notes. I've been writing notes. So I'm going to continue reading until I'm done. So these are two books that I'm carrying over. These are two books that I started in October that I'm going to continue in November. So of course, they're not in my wrap up. But yeah, those are some of the books that I absolutely loved in October. I loved everything that I read in October, whether it was titillating or engrossing or enticing or appealing, or one of those things that you kind of hate read but you still love the fact that you have read it. I had all of those emotions in October, but I just love the fact that I found some books that I really, really enjoyed. And so yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you read in October that was the best thing that you read. Anything. Even if it was a poem. I haven't read a lot of poetry lately, but I've been watching people share poetry on Instagram and I just love following them. So yeah, let me know what was the best thing that you read in October. And we'll chat down there. We'll chat in the comments about it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you stick around. And until we come back for another video, happy reading. Bye.